What's up, guys? Welcome back to Mike It Yourself. In this week's video, I'm super excited to bring you this new product. It's brand new on the market. It's offered by two different companies, but they're related. So let's take a look at what I'm talking about, and I hope you're as excited as I am. All right, so what am I talking about? I am talking about the brand new Cerwin Vega Harley Davidson specific radio unit, head unit, whatever you want to call it. Okay, so this one goes into 2014 and up, or 2014 to 2023. However, I think the CVOs is when the new body style came out, so of course this stereo wouldn't apply to that, but that's because it's got that digital thing, and yeah, totally different setup, right? Anyhow, so this is the new unit that came out. Now, I've told you in the past that Cerwin Vega and Diamond Audio are actually brother and sister companies, so they share the same technologies. But this is Cerwin Vega's brand, and you know me, I'm pretty loyal to Cerwin Vega, so this is their version of the stereo. The stereo is awesome. I can't wait to show you guys these features, but just to be upfront, like, what it does come with already built in. So the big thing is the Maestro RR2 module. I don't know what you want to call it, module, software, whatever. What the hell am I talking about? So for SoundStream and those other guys, they have an adapter, an extra unit that you have to plug in order to continue to use your thumb controls or your hand controls, whatever you want to call them, and then also to get your engine information into the head unit. In fact, the earlier versions, I think, of the SoundStream didn't do that at all, so you just didn't even get that opportunity. The Cerwin Vega unit actually has that technology built into the head unit, so you don't have to worry about an additional module, finding a location to put it, getting power, all that stuff out the window. It's built in. The next thing up is it has a 10-channel built-in DSP. So if you've been watching my videos, you know that I am in love with DSPs. They make all the difference when it comes to making your setup sound perfect. And yeah, so this is already built in. So another piece of equipment you can eliminate from your setup. It's got a 7-inch LCD screen on it. It's all touch, of course. It has CarPlay and Android Auto, and it's wireless Android Auto. I can't really speak to the Apple stuff. I'm not an Apple guy, so fortunately, I apologize for that, but nonetheless, pretty cool stuff. You get the Android Auto that's wireless, and that's super helpful. That means you can keep your phone in your pocket, access your navigation, your music, and even, like, if you want to take a call, I guess you can take it through your radio. I wear a helmet, so I just take it through my Bluetooth there, but you could do it on your radio if you wanted to, right? Anyhow, so everything else is kind of your basic stuff. Now, another big thing I want to point out, it is IPX6 water resistant. Doesn't mean waterproof, you can't submerge it, but it is water resistant. It is the higher version, so that's good. Means you can actually wash your bike. Of course, you don't want to, like, right? That's stupid. But I know, like, the Sony and some of the other radios that were made for Harley don't do so well with water, so that is a problem, right? It's got a built-in crossover setup, so it is just awesome. Let's jump into what you have to do first, because there is a primary step before you even put it on the bike, and that is to program the iData Link Maestro RR2, and that is done through a USB port that is on the back side of the radio. So let's go ahead and jump into that. All right, guys, so we're going to take this journey together. I'm already at the Cerwin Vega website, and it tells you right away, attention, the internal RR2 module must be programmed on a computer before starting the install. The radio will not power up before it is programmed. So it tells you to download the Maestro RR2 programming manual. Now, I'm anticipating this is going to be pretty intuitive. Like, we're not going to have to do much in guesswork, but maybe some, I don't know. So like it said, if you don't have an account, you got to create an account. So let me go ahead and create my account. I'm going to bring it back as soon as I plug that in, because I don't know what they're going to ask me for. Okay, so now we're gonna flash by vehicle. So we're walking a 2017 Harley Davidson Road Glide. Okay, so now it's asking, hey, what kind of controls do you have for your hand? So we're gonna go take a look at my controls. All right, so now in the pictures here, you get 3 options. So it looks like there's one where it's like, there's no description here at the bottom, but the big thing is this blank space there, which is where the push to talk is on mine. Then you have the push to talk. You got the directional, so we had all that. Cruise, and then the home. So we know that is with PTT, so we have that on ours. Now this one says with PTT and rear controls. Now in their image, I'm really not seeing a difference between the two. But I don't believe I have any rear controls, so we're gonna go with just the PTT. My brand is Cerwin Vega. It's got that model there. It automatically populates your serial number. So recommended firmware, we got that. All right, so now it says select the accessories you are using. I'm not sure if we're using any of these things. Radar detectors, nope. That's all radar detector stuff. Okay, well, ain't got any of that. Okay, so select how you want to configure your system. Vehicle info, gauges, factory amplifier. So what does this say? If the vehicle is equipped with a premium amplified audio system, and you're planning to replace the factory amplifier with an aftermarket one, you must clear this checkbox for the fader and balance to work. So we need to turn that off then, because we're not using a factory amplifier, we've got aftermarket. And then of course steering wheel controls, which is your hand controls. So we click next or continue. All right, so now we got to tell it what it does for each of these controls. So just like it shows here in the picture, up is volume, down is less volume, right? You got the little home button there, so you press it once, it takes you home, and then seek up, seek back, right? So we're going to leave those default values in place. Looks like this is also default values. So right side, so up is up, down is down, left is left, right is right. If we hit the info button, so that's this guy up here, that gives us the vehicle info. If we hold it, we'll get the display the gauges screen, so that's kind of cool, something we got to note. Push to talk, if you hit it you answer. Okay, I don't use that, so I don't really care what those settings are. All right, go ahead and continue. So what's nice is you can actually customize your stuff if you don't like that setup. I don't know why you wouldn't like it. I mean, I'm sure there's reasons, but it kind of works. All right, so it's telling you about to flash it. Here are your settings, and let's flash. All right, so it's doing that. I'll just kind of spin you here if I can. Now the radio's not lighting up or anything like that, so there's no indication that something is going on other than what you see on your screen, so just be aware of that. Don't be concerned, I guess, if you're not seeing the screen light up. You're not rocking 12 volts at a USB cable, so it's probably not enough power to get that through. Okay, so the flash was completed with success. and that should be it. So at this point, we'll be able to close this down and install the radio. So let's grab the old unit, yank that thing out, and we'll put this one in. All right, so that setup is pretty simple, and really the installation of the head unit is literally as easy as installing the stock head unit. So if you can do the stock head unit, you can definitely do this, and that's because it's a little replacement. Now, there are a couple of changes or things that you'll have to consider. Let me show you. All right, I've kind of warped time here a little bit just because, honestly, you take out your old unit, you put this new one in, it is 4 bolts. You will have to transfer this bracket from your original unit to this unit because this is where that glare shield thing clips into. But that's really about it. There is a foam gasket that comes with the kit that you'll want to stick onto there. You know, if you need help putting a sticker on, ask a 5-year-old. They'll knock it out for you. Pretty simple stuff. It uses the factory harness plug, so you just plug right in. Same thing with the USB, same thing with the antenna. Now the difference is your outputs are RCA. So for me, I mean, I'm running amps for all of my speakers, so I just go ahead and connect that. And then you have some pretty cool stuff here. So what's pretty interesting is, well, one, you get a microphone. So again, if you want to take your calls through your phone or your radio, you can do that. You also have a video line here. So if you wanted to add like a backup camera to your saddle or your tour pack, you could do that. Maybe you want to record like a dash cam kind of thing, I don't know. And then you have a bunch of these aux blue wires. So what's cool about it is you could actually control other things through your head unit. So if you want to control fog lights because you don't want to add an additional switch or something, you can control it through the head unit. You want to add an air ride and control it through the head unit, you can do it. It's pretty wild. So that's something that's really, really cool. The iDataLink Mastro technology allows you to do that. If you go to the Diamond Audio site or you work your way through the Cerwin Vega site, it has instructions on how to do that. Just look up the radio specific for Harley Davidson, and there's a tab there that says like videos or something like that. So you access that and it'll show you how to do the setup. Very, very cool. And the last thing you have on there is really your remote wire for powering up your amplifiers. And like I said, if you've been following me, you know, one of the challenges I've run into is the delay. So I had previously added in a voltage regulator and a time delay to stop the popping and crazy stuff going on with the speakers because of the power, right? So if you're using like the stock head unit, you take your remote power off of the cigarette lighter, and that thing is, you know, it's linked into everything else. So as your like lights flash, everything else goes on, that thing's getting pulses of electricity. So it's pretty dirty, to be quite honest. What this does is it introduces the delays that you actually need for your amplifiers, and you no longer have popping. So that's a pretty cool thing. Let's fire this thing up. But before we do that, I do want to drop some more information really quick because it's important you know. Okay, so I mentioned I wanted to give you some information because it is important. So there's a couple of steps that you need to do in order to make this radio functional. So like I said, the very first thing before you install it, meaning no power applied, you're gonna hook up your laptop, that USB cable, you're gonna program it because you have to program the Mastro. The reason you're doing that is because you have to tell it what the configuration of your bike is gonna be. They're not gonna ship it to you in that configuration because they don't know what everybody's is. So everybody's gonna vary. You might have, you know, the very basic thumb control setup where you don't have the push to talk. You might have it with the push to talk. You might have it with the push to talk and the rear seat controls. So because those are the various options that you have out there, to also include factory amplifiers or not having factory amplifiers, you're gonna have to make that determination. So that's why they do that setup. Once you do that, you do the installation, you're able to turn it on. There may be some updates that need to be provided when you get your head unit. So this is brand new. They're still, you know, coming out with all kinds of really cool stuff. So as those things continue to evolve, there may be some updates out there. And I will tell you what, if you need assistance with this head unit, some of the best guys on the planet are the guys from Cerwin Vega Diamond Audio. All right, so special shout out to Kevin over at Diamond Audio and Raul over at Cerwin Vega for being super helpful. So one thing that I'm really big on, and you know, in my personal life, I have to do a lot of customer service in my job, and just knowing how important that is, I gotta say these guys are friggin' top class, right? So if you need help, I would recommend joining the Facebook group, but also, you know, you can reach out to them through their email contact stuff, and they will get back to you, and they will see to it to make sure you're helped, to the point of being at a rally, going out to a parking lot, firing up a laptop in their car, and literally walking you through the process. Like, that's the level of customer service you get from these guys. So I gotta tell you, it's world class, right? All right, so I just wanted to share that with you. That process is a little bit different, and because it varies so much, I'm not gonna show you that process just because it may not be relevant the next time somebody buys a unit. So I just wanted to make you aware that sometimes you're gonna have to do those updates. So let's go ahead and let's take a look at this unit, right? Stop the yapping and see the cool stuff. All right, so let's go ahead and fire it up. Now, I am gonna have to address this as soon as it fires up, because it's gonna jump straight to Android Auto. What the hell? Android Auto. Once it does come up, and we'll see the different functions. So we'll wait until we get there. And I'm using my hand switches, guys, so that's cool, right? So it's gonna come up. It takes about a second or two to link to your phone, and once it does, there you go. Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and get it off of that screen, so that way we are focused. All right, cool. So here's what your main page looks like before you get it all set up. You're gonna have all of the, you know, tiles here. Again, once you do your updates as needed, these edge lights, you can adjust the color of them, and I'm gonna make some separate videos to go over kind of the how-tos. There are some videos on the DA website, and I think also with the Cerwin Vega site, but I know there's some stuff that folks want. There isn't really a digital user's manual or anything, so I hope to bring some value. I'm kind of watching what people are looking for, and I want to be able to walk y'all through like how you do that process, because I know sometimes it's not always as intuitive as you would like it to be. So anyhow, so up there you get your access. If you have a USB stick connected to your stock USB and you have music there, you can play it through there. You have your normal tuner, so if you click on your tuner, that takes you to that page, and then you can kind of tune up and down as needed. I'm using my thumb control there. So you can set your favorites, and that's all pretty basic stuff. Like, you know, you get to your thing, say, I don't know, 93.3 is your favorite station or whatever. Then you can go ahead and just hold down on it, and that becomes that station, that little quick button. So you can navigate to it with your thumb controls, or you could just scan up and down and all that stuff. Again, we'll cover that in separate videos on how to use each of these different components, because it's just good to know, right? So let's go ahead and go back home. I'm sorry, I'm just using my this because my other arm is tied up. But yeah, so we have the Bluetooth phone, you got Bluetooth music, so once you connect that stuff, you got your settings and your Android Auto access down here. So you got like kind of quick buttons that essentially were on the other thing. You got your EQ and DSP area, so if you click on that, this is where you're going to set up. You got your global equalizer, your ability to set your fader, right, and balance link. This is your crossover setup, so you can set it up if you have front right, or, you know, and then go through your channels. Then you can also do your EQ compensation. So what's really cool about this is, say you have speakers that are you know, they're not made for a particular range, then you can go through, identify the bands that you don't want to, you know, have to worry about, set it to the correct setting, hit exit, and now that 25 hertz area is no longer relevant, right? And you could do the same for however you want it. The other cool thing is you can adjust it really with a swipe of your finger. So if you go through there, you can set your EQ, hit exit, and now that's all set, right? So you can really set it up to your preferences. And then you have time delay, which really gets down to, like, you know, how far your speakers are or whatever. That's a little bit trickier. You need to measure and all that kind of stuff. Anyhow, I just wanted to show you that, and again, it'll be covered in a different video. You can access your Android Auto, Apple CarPlay. If you have a camera, you can do that. Then you can get to your motorcycle information, so you can see your battery, whether or not eTIMS is activated or on, whether or not you should check your oil, if your high beam or low beam is on, your turn signal indicators, that's all available there. Check engine light, all that kind of good stuff. And then you have, you know, your settings there. Under gauges, and I love this really a whole bunch, you can set this up, configure it how you want. Again, separate video, but you can display, like right now I got miles per hour, or your speedometer up in the upper left hand corner, RPMs up in the center, intake temperature on the right, grip, your throttle percentage twist, and then voltage there, so it lets you know what your voltage is. And then you got vehicle info, so this is some kind of basic stuff, right? So video, you know, vehicle settings, stuff, that's setup stuff. Anyhow, so you have those options there, which are really, really cool and make this a very, very nice unit. Like I said, if you go to Android Auto, let me go ahead and activate it. Okay, so like I just went to Spotify, so you can control that. You can go to, you know, music there, or you can go ahead and go to like your navigation, and you get a full screen navigation, or if you want to tile it out, you can do that. So a bunch of really cool stuff to work with there. So let me get this thing buttoned up, and we'll take a little listen to it. We'll throw some copyright free YouTube music on, and that way we can kind of hear what it sounds like after making some adjustments to the equalizer. Again, pretty cool stuff. Let's check it out. All right, so just kind of wrapping things up, the last thing I do want to show you with this, and like I said, there'll be other videos coming to cover the individual kind of functions of this, but at the end of the day, it's the Cerwin Vega RPM HD14, and that is this thing. So I want to show this in action. So let me go ahead and crank the bike up. Alright guys, so that's going to be a wrap for this week's video. Again, this isn't so much of a how-to, more of, I mean, there are some pieces to it, but it's more information, because I mean, honestly, the installation on this is super easy. It's really about like the updates, and then, you know, as you get to the technology of it, then we'll be looking at individual videos for that. I am going to tag this as a promo video, and it's not because the radio was provided to me by Cerwin Vega, but rather because I truly believe in this product and I am promoting it. I think this is an awesome unit, so much so that I think, you know, I want to share that with you all, that this is something that's worthwhile in purchasing. Cerwin Vega is a great name. I had to pay for this out of my pocket, so this isn't like a paid promotion. This is me really just sharing with you a brand that I'm excited about, and so far have had some great experience with, not only from their speakers, their amplifiers, but now their head units. So check them out, cerwinvega.com. If you use the promo code MikeItYourself, I believe it takes 10% off of the purchase. So hey man, if you can save some bucks, do so. I hope you enjoyed this. I hope this brought some value. Like I said, we got some more to come, and until that video does post, I hope to see you in the wind.